Welcome to my channel. My name is Kim Vasquez, and I am going to be giving a video, or I'm doing a video on our family's transition from homeschooling to public school. If you've been watching our channel for a while, you will know that we started out in public school, then we went to homeschooling, and then we transitioned back to public school. And I felt like it was an overall pretty smooth transition. I will link any of our homeschool videos that I have down below, or make some sort of playlist so you can kind of look back and see our struggles and our successes of juggling me going to school full-time and life and homeschooling, and what that experience was like. Just curious to know, are you in a situation where you've been homeschooling and now you're having to think about going back to public school, whether job situations change or schedules change or whatever? Comment down below and let me know, and maybe we can find ways to support each other. Or maybe you're trying to go from homeschooling or from public school to homeschooling. I think it's really important to know both avenues of plus and minuses of each situation, and for each person it might vary. Like, what might be something that's a plus for me may not be a plus for you, but I would like to know what your ideas and your pluses and minuses of going back and what your experience is transitioning from one to the other. But without further ado, let's jump into our process. Now, I've linked, like I said below, or like I said before, I will link our whole process of going into public school, because each district is different and each state is different probably on the laws that they have. For my daughter, it was pretty seamless. It was pretty easy. She was supposed to be a third grader. Her age was a third grader age. They went ahead and just put her into third grade whenever we went in. There was no testing. For my son, it was a little bit more difficult because he was going to be a freshman. And so they wanted to do some tests to make sure that he was on level, or if he needed to go ahead and repeat 8th grade. Thank goodness we covered everything that needed to be covered, and he was able to continue on and be a freshman this year, which was awesome. There are so many pluses to homeschooling. I cannot, like, I can go on for days of the pluses for homeschooling. There's also a lot of pluses to public school. Sometimes I feel like public schools can get a bad rap, and especially if it's if you've been homeschooling and then you're going into a public school setting, and just like that whole transition. And I think when you go into that situation, you need to have an open mind. When you send your child to public school, they aren't going to be able to teach your child in the same way that you were teaching in a homeschool environment. They have 20 kids, in some cases they have more students that they have to cater to and try to like blend their learning to that child's learning needs. And I think in order for your child to be successful, it just needs to be as a parent, you need to be open-minded to that and understand. You are also your child's voice, their advocate. So if there is something that you don't like and you feel strongly about, and you're not just you're not just taking it personal, like, oh, well, so-and-so, well, my kid wouldn't be acting like this if you were doing this. Like, take a step back and look at the entire situation and the entire environment. Just take a step back and look at the entire situation. And so, that being said, there are some resources that are available in public school that aren't available in homeschool. Just like there are some resources in homeschooling that aren't available in public schools. One of the biggest things that I found beneficial to going back to public school was the fact that it was a team effort. Like, I felt like I had a team. My kids' teachers were my team. My son's principals and teachers were a great team to help me when we were going back. Like, this is a situation, we were homeschooling, now he's going back to public school. There might be some gaps, there might be some things that you guys covered last year that kind of are a building block for this year that maybe we missed. Luckily, we didn't run into any really of those situations. In some cases, he was like, oh, I learned this at homeschooling last year, and so it was really easy for him to do this year in school, and it gave him a lot of confidence. But like, in some cases for my daughter, there were some things that maybe we missed a building block that kind of led into something that they were learning, and she needed to have that foundation that maybe we didn't cover, or we covered but she didn't master. I know I did a great job teaching my child. It's just sometimes they have little areas that need, in a school, how do I say this? They have different ways of teaching things. Like math, they might teach them a bunch of different ways to do math. So my daughter kind of had to learn a new way of doing math Another thing was that we worked a lot on problems, like the problems itself. We didn't have a lot of word problems, which is something that they really do a lot of. And so it's kind of going back and looking at, this is stuff that you already know, but she was seeing it in a different form, and just kind of helping her build and really working with her teachers on giving her the tools that she needed to be successful and to build that platform to be successful in that area. But overall, I think that when you're transitioning, the biggest tip I can give you, especially for like little ones, because I feel like in high school it's a little bit different, your communication and stuff with the teachers, it's there, but it's not so much there as where it's definitely different. And I think that if you have older kids, you can definitely attest to this. But for my daughter, it was just really being open and communicating with the teachers and being receptive to what they had to say, and not taking it personally if she was lacking in a certain area and thinking, oh, they're just being mean because we homeschooled her last year and they're trying to tell me that I didn't do a good job, because that's not the case. At least I would hope so. At least in my daughter's teacher's case, that wasn't the case. They brought things to light that maybe as a mom being at home I didn't see, that that I was able to see once she, like, looking hindsight, I'm like, oh, I can definitely see why that was a struggle. So I'll just put it out there. My daughter was diagnosed this year with ADHD, and it was just kind of like, it kind of came as a shock. But I'm really grateful for her teachers for bringing that to my attention. And they didn't present it as a way that, hey, your daughter has ADHD, you need to get this fixed. It was, hey, these are within a few months of her going to school, they said, these are some things that we've noticed, these are some things that we have concerns about, and can you come in, can we talk, and let's see, do you have these same concerns, or is this just something that's happening in school? And if they are concerns, like, what can we both do as a team, what can we both do to help Mia be successful, to help her narrow her focus down, to give her every tool and foundation she needs to be able to be successful. And so that was a big thing, is just being a team. Like, I think that's the biggest positive about going back to public school, is that I felt like I had a team. It wasn't all just on me. I could lean on her teachers if she was struggling in a certain area, and I could go to them for resources. And maybe and while I am a certified teacher, it's in PE, and theirs is in EC through 6 probably. I'm not exactly sure what their certification area is, but they have specific areas that they know and that they get trained in. They just have tools that maybe, and experiences that we don't have when we're homeschooling, that were really helpful in implementing for Mia to help her be successful, I guess is what I'm trying to say at the end of the day. That being said, I know that not every year are we going to have pleasant teachers, and we might butt heads with teachers, but that still doesn't mean that you're not an active parent. You know, I think that is just key whenever your kid is going into a public school, is pop your head in, volunteer if that is an option that you have. Email the teachers, and at first I was kind of nervous to email them so much, but literally especially this year, our communication with my daughters and more so my daughter's teachers is just so amazing and so open. And I can literally say, this is a struggle that we've had in our family, or this is coming up at home. Like when I had to do a class that was like 2 weeks long, and I was hardly home, and it really affected Mia in school, and I was able to email her teachers and let them know that this is what's going on, and if her attitude or behavior or something changes, if you see anything, let me know, or this, just to kind of give them a heads up, which really prepares a teacher to understand why this kid might be acting that way. And so another thing that I always tell my kids is, don't let your circumstances determine what your day is going to be like, or don't use your circumstances as an excuse for your behavior. Because when you have a job, or as a parent, like, I can't let a bad day keep me from parenting or keep me from doing a good job. Your teacher, just because she had a bad day at home, can't come to school and be mean to you or not teach because she had a bad day. And so it's just kind of teaching my kid to be responsible for themselves and their behavior, and which I think is a really important tool for them to have. So, but at the end of the day, our transition was pretty seamless. I'm very grateful for my kids' teachers. I'm very grateful for my son's school. He does, when I say my son goes to public school, he does go to a public school, but it's charter. So it's a little bit different than a regular public school. I feel like that situation is just such a great positive situation for him. This charter school runs with smaller numbers. He literally has like 30 kids in his gym class, and like in a regular classroom environment, 12 to 15 kids. I feel like it has really helped him be successful. And I know not all charters work this way and run with these numbers, but his charter does. And I mean, that can change over the years. But for right now, I feel like this is the perfect environment and situation to help him be successful. He's able to get a lot of one-on-one time, and I feel very fortunate that we have that as an option. And again, at the end of the day, I just have such a great experience with my kids' teachers, and it's just really about being active, which sometimes it's hard, especially if you're working in, or you know, we have busy schedules. You need to, as a parent, find time to cut into your schedule to go to their plays, or if they're having a school function, like my daughter's school, they do like different events that are in the evenings that you could volunteer for, or just even go to and just kind of show your face so the teachers know who you are and you have an interaction with that community. It really makes a huge difference. So that's my personal experience with transitioning back to public school, and I appreciate it. I have more time to focus on my career and my goals that I have set for myself. And I'm also, because I have these ambitions and stuff like that, it was hard to juggle that and homeschooling, and being able to appreciate the time when we weren't homeschooling, because when I wasn't homeschooling my kids, I was working on schoolwork or whatever. And so now I have this 8-hour day that I can work on what I need to work on for my goals. And when my kids come home, the time that we spend is very quality time, and I appreciate the time that I have with them. Not that I didn't appreciate the time that I had with them homeschooling. I definitely appreciate that, and sometimes I wish I still had that. But the quality time that I have with them, because I'm able to recharge if I need to recharge, helps me to be a better parent. And definitely, if you are homeschooling, I commend you. And if you aren't finding time to recharge, you really should find time to recharge, and some sort of resource, because it definitely, we don't realize the toll. I didn't realize at the time. I kind of knew the toll it was taking on me, and not to sound negative, because I loved homeschooling, but sometimes as parents and moms especially, we're so focused on our kids and doing the best for our kids and running a household, that we kind of forget we are the center hub for that home and how it runs, and if it runs smoothly. And if we're not taking the time to take care of ourselves, that can kind of transpire into our day-to-day lives, and it can kind of spill into other things that we're doing. So that, like I said, that was our personal experience. It was very positive. I would love to hear what your experience is, whether you're transitioning from public school to homeschool, or homeschool to public school, why you made the choice to do what you did, and if there's any advice you can give to anybody, please put it down below. I like to have this as a platform for moms or parents or just anybody to feel free to put positive energy and information out there to share, that maybe it's something that someone can take away and learn from. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have not yet done so, make sure that you are subscribed. If you like this video, give it a like, and I will see you guys in the next one.